Hi, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is a paid request for Graeme. Sorry if I butchered your name. This is one of two requests. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box. I'll get to as soon as I can. And for those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, thank you. So, Hellraiser versus Hellbound Hellraiser 2 is the video we wanted for today. Damn dry weather. Sorry about that. To compare the two, which one I like more, why, that type of thing. Now, I do like both of them. In fact, I would say with Hellraiser, I like the first three. 4 I could deal with because some interesting ideas. After that, I'm not a fan. 5, 6, 7, 8. I do not appreciate so many fucking Hellraiser sequels, let alone the reboots with the she, pinhead, shinhead, whatever, shithead. Must be a shithead. Whatever the fuck the pinhead was. It didn't need to be that long of a damn franchise. In fact, you could have stopped it with a trilogy, which I would have been fine with. Because I do like Hellraiser 3. I know a lot of people don't. I do. Now, sorry for the pause. I'm trying to think back with Hellraiser. Bit of a weird thing with Hellraiser for me, where for the longest time, I only knew Hellraiser from the ending of the movie, where it was Ashley Lawrence in the house, and it's kind of like after Andrew Robinson has been killed, because I didn't seem what it was after. It was her running around. There's blood around the house. She's got the configuration, and is taking care of them, and the creature coming at her, and the weird ending with the hobo flying around, at the end. I remember only knowing that. All I knew about Hellraiser was that ending. I don't know why. I don't know if it was somehow partly taped on a videotape, something about it. I only knew that. So it wasn't until years later that I saw it. I think I saw the sequel first. And that happened a lot. Like I saw Halloween 2 before the first one. I saw Chainsaw Massacre 2 many, many years before the first one. I saw Army of Darkness and never even knew it was a sequel until many years later. Then I saw Evil Dead 2, then I saw the first one. So that happened a lot with me. I don't know with anybody else, but that happened to me a lot. So that's the thing. You never know what movie will introduce someone to the franchise. And because of that, maybe this is just a nostalgia or other reasons to like it. But yeah, Hellbound Hellraiser 2 was always my favorite of the franchise. I know mostly the first one, but the second one was always my favorite. Now, I do like the first one. I do like seeing Andrew Robinson, who was in Cobra and Dirty Harry and a bunch of other stuff. I do think there's some unsettling bits of like gore, like the feel of it, like near the beginning where there's the face that's in pieces. You see someone like trying to put it like a puzzle, and just how grisly and slimy the environment is. It's just, I'm like, okay, this is not campy. This is not silly. This is some serious shit. From Clive Barker. And I think Doug Bradley does a great job in Pinhead, who's not in these films a lot. I mean, he's in them for... If it's 10 minutes, that'd be surprising. I mean, maybe less than that. And that's with you. Part 1 and Part 2. So... with that, some good makeup effects. Like the Jesus Wept scene, great. Jesus wept. Great makeup effects. The skinless Frank. How that becomes like a drop of blood and how the body gets reconstructed. Cool to look at, very grisly effects. Great score. Anytime I think of Christopher Young, I always think of his score for Hellraiser 1 and 2. Down, 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 down. And it definitely had a different vibe to other boogeyman horror villains of that era, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. It definitely had this more really like dangerous feel to it compared to some of the other ones. And then even Pinhead, very unique, not just the look, but the way Doug Bradley played it, the way, how little he's in the first two, and it's just much more of like a smart, scholarly way of speaking. Like, gentlemen, what may I will tear your soul apart. Your suffering will be legendary even in hell. He's given some good lines in these films, and just this kind of stature of importance to him, and just made him stick out compared to others. So I do like Hellraiser, but Hellraiser 2 I do like more. And it's one of the reasons is because what happened a lot in the 80s especially is make a sequel, gotta make it bigger. Gotta make it bigger. And that happened a lot. And the way the 80s did it, with the action, or the spectacle, or the special effects, or the action, they became some of my favorites of those franchises. You had First Blood, much more of a quiet movie. Quiet in terms of, it's not, people exploding everywhere. I mean, there's technically only a body count of one person. It's more sneaking through the woods and getting them one by one, or sneaking through the cave and to get out. And then you have Rambo 2, which is bigger, and it's flying helicopters, blowing up villages, missiles, rockets to blow up boats, C4 tipped explosive arrows, and that's my favorite of the franchise. I love First Blood, but Rambo 2 is my favorite. And they did that a lot. Alien, I love. Great horror film from the 70s, but Aliens is literally my favorite film of all time. It's bigger and more action, more xenomorphs, the Queen. And with other horror, like, I liked Evil Dead, but Evil Dead 2. The one-liners, groovy. The shotgun, blowing up heads, chainsaw for a hand. It felt a bit bigger, a bit more finesse than Evil Dead 1. The whole thing with the hand and breaking all the stuff on him. The whole thing with Henrietta and the head growing and hitting Bruce in the head. It felt bigger compared with the first one. The Phantasm 2 did that. Phantasm 2 with Reggie getting the shotguns, the double barrel, and sawing them off. So he's got like 4 barrels. And it felt like there's a bit more of an action feel to it. A bit more of a bigger feel to it. And that, like I said, Aliens, Phantasm 2, Rambo 2. I thought this film had it too. I want to say action, but it felt bigger where we entered hell or that dimension of hell. And not only do we have the Cenobites, but we got Dr. Channard, Standard Fuckhead. I can never pronounce his name right. I don't know why. I always fuck up his name. The Doctor. And like the way he is, like flying around and those tendril things with all this weird stuff, like could be a nice little flower, but then like stick it up your ass, type of thing. And to see again the inner workings of hell and how it was like this very dreamlike landscape. Not the fire and brimstone, but just this very dark, dreamy landscape that all these corridors, and then you enter your own private hell, like when she sees Uncle Frank, Ashley Lawrence. And I like that. I like that bigger scope to it. I appreciate that. Especially done in the 80s where they had to do it with the effects at the time, which was much more of a collage of different type of techniques, whether it be map paintings, miniatures, animation, whatever the case may be, stop motion, all these things combined that just makes it such a good visual palette of different forms combined together, as well as practical effects, that you don't see nowadays because everything's just CGI. That just makes it seem more fake or more a lot less tangible. And you just tell, like, okay, everything's a computer, and then it just, something about me in the back of my head, like, are there films I can enjoy that do that? Yes. But when you see it again and again and again, it's like, okay, yeah, it's on a computer, okay. And hell, lately, like, the bigger budget they have, the more shitty they look. But I like when they, because I can see the ambition. I can feel the ambition in a film like Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Not to take away from Hellraiser 1, but again, I appreciate those aspects. I thought Ashley Lawrence had more to do in the sequel, and I like Ashley Lawrence. That's another reason why I like Hellraiser 2 more. Because in the first film, like, she's there, but she kind of disappears from time to time, or she's with her boyfriend, and she doesn't really have a whole lot to do, and she disappears for a good chunk of it. Because it's more about Uncle Frank, and I always forget her damn name. Is it Claire Higgins? Is that the actress's name? Should have it written down. Yeah, as Julia, Claire Higgins. Now, granted, the sequel, that's one note I could say is a flaw, is the first bit kind of plays like a repeat of the first one, where here's a skinless person with a person of the opposite sex, and men are being led one by one so that the skinless person can eat them up and get more and more skin. So that does feel like a regurgitation of the first one, to be fair. But the first one felt like it was mostly just that. Again, until, whoops, Andrew Robinson's fucked, Cenobites are there, goodbye. Here, it's like you get that, but you get much more of like the asylum and what this doctor's doing and with these crazy guys and what's going on, and that seems like a very darker aspect of the film, more fucked up aspect of the film. That's an added layer to it. I like the character of Tiffany, played by Imogen Boorman. I liked her. I thought for someone who has, like, I don't know, one line of dialogue, there's a point where she said, shit. Oh, shit. Which is a funny delivery she gives. I liked her. I thought she did a good job. Well, that's not true. There's more. There's flashback where she says, mommy. There's that too. Mommy. So, like, you fill in your details in your head of, the tragic backstory she has. And in a weird way, it kind of reminds me of Aliens. And the fact of, kind of like Ripley and Newt. Now you have Ashley Lawrence and Tiffany. So it's kind of like Ripley and Newt. Which I don't know if they did that on purpose. But that's what I mean. It was nice that Ashley Lawrence had a bit more to do. Where Not only is she dealing at the beginning, she's at the hospital, which is what happened in the first film, and then she thinks she sees her dad and that he's in hell, and so she wants to be able to save her dad. But then she also becomes a protector, mentor of Tiffany and trying to help her and get her out. And then the whole thing between her and Pinhead, which is this kind of interesting dynamic where it seems like many times Pinhead could just kill her, but whether at first to toy with her, but then maybe he senses something within her that he, in a weird way, respects. And then you find out a bit more of the backstory of Pinhead and Dud Bradley. And I like that. I like finding out a bit more aspect of the character. So it made Pinhead a little bit more of a, for me, a more developed character. At least, again, to me. And the effects were even more ambitious with the doctor and all the stuff he's able to do. I like the bit where they get back to the real world. He's just killing all these patients. So the body count definitely rises in this one. And I liked a lot of the ideas. I like the idea at the end of Ashley Lawrence wearing Julia's skin to trick and to help out, to using her brain, using her wits to distract someone, and so that she could, Tiffany do the whole thing and fuck them up. So I just felt like there was a bit more to the story. Like the story's fine in Hellraiser, but this one just had a bit more to it. There's a bit more layers, a bit more going on, and again, I love the whole hell dimension aspect. I thought that was a nice addition to it. So it opened it up a bit. I liked the bigger scope of it. Because the first film's pretty much just all in this one house, so the bigger scope I do appreciate. And the effects may seem dated in it, but I'm a sucker for the effects. I thought there's a charm to them. The score is still very good. Now, granted, are there aspects of part 2 I don't like? Sure. Like I said, I don't like that the first chunk of it feels like a regurgitation of the first one, like I said. Also, I do not think the Cenobite should have been taken out that easily. If people are pissed about that, I don't blame them. They have a good point. The fact that the doctor could come in and just take care of all the Cenobites like they're a bunch of bitches, drop them like a bad habit, that's a bit bullshit. At least put up a little bit more of a fight. A little bit more of a battle. A little bit more of a struggle. At least. So yeah, I thought that was a bit kind of wonky. But maybe at this point they didn't realize just how popular Pinhead and the Cenobites were. Well, I mean, that's not true because they're on the poster, so they did know, but a lot of times they make, at the time they make these sequels, they think this will be the last and they're not going to make any more. Because not everything is going to be like a yearly thing like almost Friday the 13th was. And it's not like Hellraiser made like $50 million. It's like, dude, they made money. Obviously, they made enough money to keep going, but they weren't like blockbusters. But they definitely knew I guess in a way they made up for it in Hellraiser 3 because he's much more front and center and much more like ready to kill and do stuff. So I guess like maybe it's like someone said, "Yo, fuck that shit, Hellraiser 2. He should not have been killed. Fuck that. I'm gonna make him the lead in Hellraiser 3. Fuck that shit." Which he kinda is. Doug Bradley has the most screen time as Pinhead in part 3, which is what I like about it. It makes it seem a bit different. And granted, sometimes Doug Bradley's a bit too chatty in it, but I like Doug Bradley as that character, and I'm fine with seeing more of him. but I do like the second one more. I'm not sure if I like the first one more or the third one more. I don't know. I would say the first one definitely has more of a nasty, unsettling atmosphere, but part three, it's fun. I like Anthony Hitchcock as a director. May you rest in peace. But anyway, so yeah, how about Hellraiser 2? I like the guy who plays the doctor. I really like Tiffany. I like that character. Julia comes back. I mean, obviously no Andrew Robinson, which is a shame, but I always thought it was weird too. Like the boyfriend disappears from part one. I think she mentions him in dialogue. Wait, I'm trying to remember. Was he at the beginning of the movie? I think she mentions him in dialogue. Then that's what happens. She mentions him. I think. I don't know why I can't remember that. Although I could look real quick. Someone I think did upload this on YouTube. So, go figure. Yeah, it is on YouTube, so I could look real quick. Yeah, because it's cursed. Yeah, the detective, the cop. Yeah, okay. Says he went home and stuff, so yeah. Which is weird. So, I mean. Oh well. I mean, it's not like he was an amazing character, to be honest. He was barely a character in the first one, so I guess it wasn't greatly missed, but just one of those. You know, I just barely felt he was, I don't know, who gives a fuck, or they thought he was a shitty actor or something. It's like, nah, don't let him in this movie. But yeah, Hellraiser 2, I would say the cast. There's more people in the cast I like because it opened up its scope. There's different locations, so it didn't feel like we were just in the same, almost the same place over and over and over again. Because, you know, when it got to bring someone over, it kills them, brings someone, kill it kind of get close to being repetitive. Which you say the opening of the second film does, but I didn't. It's especially the second half of that movie that I think really comes alive and is what makes it my favorite of the franchise, is and particularly the second half of that movie, of Hellraiser 2. Where you get to see a bit more of the world, a little bit more of the lore, a little bit about the teeny bit of the backstory, a little bit about where they come from. Because their world is more interesting than our world. I would say their world is a bit more intriguing. And I'm glad to take more of a peek at that because of what they added in Hellraiser 2. So, and my favorite line of all the franchises in Hellraiser 2. Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell. And again, there's some good lines, but that's probably been my favorite Pinhead quote, which is in part 2. So with that said, yeah. And again, I think Ashley Lawrence, because she's given a bit more to do in part 2, I don't mind her performance in part 1, but I like her performance more in part 2. Because she has, again, I thought she had a bit more with being like this mentor protector role. That was nice to see. Kind of like Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, only they don't kill her off, which was nice. It's nice they didn't kill off Ashley Lawrence's character. Although they did that stupid thing, what was it? Part 7? 6? The one where technically she made a deal with Pinhead, and yeah, this guy tried to kill her, which was no good, so fuck him, but she still got other innocent people killed that didn't deserve their souls to be brought to hell forever. So they kind of fucked with her character in that movie, which I'm like, actually, Lawrence, why would you say yes to that? Like, did you really need the money that bad? Did you? Anyway, that's a whole other thing, but part 2 I like more than the first, but I do like the first. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.